about 2 minutes out, so if any council members are on, you can turn your cameras on. Just waiting on communications to call you back in the last minute, and then we'll start as soon as they cue me in. Good evening. I'd like to call the work session on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 to order at 6 p.m. The first agenda item is a bid recommendation of two 2024 Freightliner 10-ton dump trucks for the Department of Public Works. Director Lee, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Smith, Mayor Moe, and council members. The Department of Public Works is requesting approval for the purchase of two heavy-duty trucks with plow and advanced snow fighting capabilities to replace fleet vehicles that are on the current fleet replacement schedule and have exceeded their cost efficiency and engine hours lifespan. These trucks will have non-corrosive aluminum beds to reduce weight, increase fuel efficiency, and eliminate corrosion. The vehicles will also be outfitted with a pre-wetting system for our brine application expansion, which translates into minimizing environmental impact by less salt being applied to our roadways during inclement weather. The department solicited several quotes, including vendors on state and county contracts. The accepted quote is from Johnson Truck Center of Landover, Maryland, who is on the government Sourcewell contract number 060920 in the amount of $494,980 for both vehicles. Based on the fleet replacement schedule, the following will be replaced: vehicle number 29, which is a 2009 heavy multi-use dump truck, and vehicle number 31, which is also a 2009 heavy multi-use dump truck. Funding for these vehicles is provided for in the FY 2023 adopted CIP fleet replacement program. It's recommended that the purchase of these vehicles for a total cost of $494,980 to Johnson Truck Center of Landover be approved. Thank you, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions from the council?
Mr. President, I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilman Cole.
Director Lee, can you talk a little bit more about the pre-wetting system on the dump trucks for the brine? Are they going to be actual brine, or is it a pre-wetting system that still uses granular ice melt?
This pre-wetting system will actually use brine. We're actually in the final stages of outfitting several of our trucks now, and we've actually tested the brine system. So soon that will be coming out as a total brine operations program, and this will allow for that.
Thank you very much. And we'll see that in another bid recommendation for that equipment?
We have most of the brine equipment under ARPA, so we're almost completed. I'm just I want to make sure I get it 100% completed before the mayor announces it out.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? All right. Well, if the council agrees, the bid will be awarded at the meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. The next agenda item is a resolution number 4-2023, a resolution to accept the report of the City of Laurel No-Kill Community Animal Shelter Task Force, authorizing the mayor to move forward with the planning, funding, and providing a timeline for completion of a no-kill community animal shelter. Mayor Mo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not really much to say other than we're following the same pattern what we did when we put the homelessness task force together. This actually is a resolution with the recommendations of the task force authorizing the administration to move forward. As you know, there's property and other pieces that need to be looked at, as well as funding. And whether we try to go from some state or county funding, we want to be able to at least say that it's been formally adopted. I think at the last meeting, the work session, you saw the individuals come out in force that were in favor of this. But this is really just a formality, and I'll answer any questions anybody may have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any questions or comments from the council?
I have a question, Mr. President.
Councilman DeWalt?
Mayor Mo, have you found any site or any area that have you gotten to that stage yet that you might locate this no-kill shelter?
We actually were supposed to have a meeting with some county officials, and they weren't able to come on the meeting to talk about the northern end of Prince George County because they're looking to do something. There's a couple areas I've looked at, Councilman, but I'll tell you those offline. Nothing that's been formal, and I'm not sure there's enough property, to be honest with you, of the one place that I looked off over there of Lafayette Avenue before, but that's nothing official, not until the report was accepted and everything else. But I have made some I've had some discussions with one of our delegates regarding some funding and other things as well on this. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Oh, no, that's fine. I know it's in its early stages. Helen wants me to keep everybody updated on just one thing. Hopefully it could be done. I don't know, but she wants to see that if it's possible, any way that if a homeless person or a family come into our facility, would they allow to bring a cat if they had it as a pet? Now, I don't know the regulations on that. I know the apartment complexes, they are allowed cats with a certain fee, but she says once they're, which I didn't know, once they're spayed or neutered, then there won't be any spraying or anything like that. It will just be mainly a litter box. So just to keep that in mind, that's what she told me, to make sure that everybody's aware of it, that she would like to see that. But whatever can be done concerning that.
A point of clarification: are you talking about the multi-service center? Or are you
The multi-service center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
the multi-service center. Yeah, not the no-kill shelter. She's talking about the multi-service center. She just wanted me to bring that to everyone's attention.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
Mr. President, I'm sorry, I did forget one thing on there, and I'm sure you all saw it. There is a statement in there regarding putting a CAC together, which will start drilling down and putting things, rules, regulations, looking at the state law, all of those pieces that I think during the time that the mayor and council are looking for property or working with others, those types of things could be done, which would give us a big head start as well.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, if the council agrees, introduction and first public hearing on this item will be at the mayor and city council meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Agenda item number 3 is a resolution number 5-2023, a resolution of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland, to set a date, time, and polling location for early voting in the city of Laurel for the general election of November 2023. Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the resolution 5-2023 would set the polling for locations for early voting for November 4th, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And with this resolution, it would mark the first time that we have early voting in two locations, the Municipal Center and the Robert J. DePietro Community Center. And that's all I had, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? All right, well, if the council agrees, the introduction and first public hearing on this item will be at the Mayor and City Council meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And last agenda item is agenda item number 4, an ordinance of number 2007, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland to amend the Laurel City Code, Chapter 18, to update the permit requirements for sediment erosion control plans and providing an effective date. Director Selby, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Smith, Mayor Moe, council members. We are recommending a change in Chapter 18 for an issued grading permit. We are changing the expiration period from 2 years to 3 years to bring us in line with Prince George's County. That's all I have. Any questions? I'm here.
Any questions from the council?
Yes, Council President, just want to not reiterate, but you say the code is being changed to bring us in compliance with the code of Prince George County from 2 years to 3 years, or?
Yes, sir. Yeah, currently ours is 2 years and we're bringing it up to 3. When we had our last audit, the Department of Environment asked us if we would change that to bring us in line. So everybody's basically in line with everybody. We don't have us 2 years and them 3 years.
Okay, thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the council? All right, well, if the council agrees, introduction will be at the first public hearing on this item. Will be at the Mayor and City Council meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023, 6 p.m. I'm sorry, I said that was the last agenda item. There is one more, agenda item number 5. And that is a charter resolution number 177, a charter resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel amending Article 400 administration of the Charter of the City of Laurel to reflect the creation of a new department entitled the Department of Community Resources and Emergency Management. And adding section 469, Director of the Department of the Community Resources and Emergency Management. Ms. Pulley, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mayor, members of the council. Before you tonight is Charter Resolution number 177, a resolution to amend Article 400 administration of the Charter of the City of Laurel to reflect the creation of the new department entitled the Department of Community Resources and Emergency Management. Also adding section 469 to the Charter, Director of the Department of Community Resources and Emergency Management. After doing a thorough review of the operations of emergency management from the Office of the City Administrator, Helping Hands, and the Laurel Multi-Service Center, both from the Department of Parks and Recreation, I determined by combining the services provided by these agencies, the activities and responsibilities of each can be better monitored and supervised, where it could better provide security of confidential records and lines of communication that will be better and more effectively supported, all which allows the city to better serve its residents in the greater Laurel community as a whole. CREM will be better able to provide the support and services currently offered by these agencies, resulting in a safer, healthier, and stronger community to provide growth, resilience, self-sufficiency, and emergency preparedness to the city residents in the greater Laurel area, as stated earlier. Furthermore, the creation of this department will allow for the city to apply for more grant opportunities for human services and emergency operations that will also assist with the multi-service center. The creation of this department will be cost neutral and will not have an impact on the budget, since we are taking 3 different departmental budgets and making one as CREM will be established. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my summation of the proposed charter, and I'm happy to address any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a few questions.
Go ahead, Councilman Sidno.
Yes, City Administrator Pulley, I thought that we just recently, correct me because I don't remember a lot of stuff, that we had a director of the multi-service center that we're realigning that person was, I thought it was under a separate department.
So as of right now, we do have a director for the multi-service center. The multi-service center is currently under Parks and Recreation, where Parks and Recreation has the facilities, the various programs, recreational needs, handle all our parks, and it also has Helping Hands, which is our community-based counseling program. So with the multi-service center, Helping Hands, and emergency management, it's better to create one department where all three of those different individual silos will come together to provide the various health and human services aspects for the city as well as the greater Laurel community. So it'll be a director, department head of the department, the director of the multi-service center, and then Helping Hands has a clinical director, and then other staff will be underneath that.
So you have an emergency manager under the director as well?
No, the emergency manager will serve as the department head for the department.
Okay. Yeah, I was reading this and I understand why you moved it from Park and Recs because, Parks and Recs, when I think of recreation, I'm thinking about fun activities for the city. And Helping Hands, I'm thinking more of a social service component. And the multi-service center to me is another social service component. And emergency management, I see that as a separate, I see that as natural disasters, the city on fires, things like that. Yeah, I don't see them two going together. I see why you want to separate it, but I don't agree that they should be under one umbrella. I think that, social service should be social service stuff and emergency management things should be emergency management things, so that's my take on that. So I'll just want to put that on the record.
Understood.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
I have a question, President.
Councilman DeWalt.
City Administrator Pulley, the Helping Hands Emergency Management, how many employees, including the director and everything, how many employees does that encompass? And are we going to add anything to that, or is it just going to remain that amount?
So as of right now, emergency management pretty much has 2 employees. Helping Hands has a total of 5. However, some of their employees are not full-time employees. So as of right now, it will remain the same.
Okay. Any other than, are we going to add any when we move into that, or are we just going to leave it at this?
Well, there will be positions that will need to be filled out once the multi-service center is complete to help assist with the other avenues of the multi-service building.
Okay. How many have you decided how many that might take at all yet? I know it's in the early stages, but have you planned that far ahead? I mean, it's getting probably way too far ahead until they get done with it, but anything like that? As
of right now, I think probably in the near future, maybe approximately 2 full-time positions.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Mr. President, if I could make one comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
I just want to respond to Councilman Signor's concern. I actually think part of what emergency management does is not wait for the incident, but assist and prepare. Part of that is human resources, preparing individuals once an incident occurs. They're dealing with all these different components, and that's why we felt it would be better under emergency management, because just like COVID-19, how a lot of those things overlapped, preparing the public, but not only preparing them, but making sure they had access to all the different social services needs as well as medical needs. And that was the thinking there. So I just wanted to throw that out to you as well. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you,
Mr.
Mayor Mo.
President, one more comment too, please, on what the mayor said.
Sure, Mr. Dewar, Council.
And I agree 100% with him. When we had the fire on Main Street at the Selborne House, Chrissy showed up down there, and she was able to go in there and meet with the management. They explained everything that was going on. She wanted to know if there were going to be any people displaced, and they talked it over and everything. So it was good to have her there. Plus, the some of the seniors, you could tell, needed somebody to talk to. Definitely after that person, that 80, I think he was 82, 81-year-old, had burned up in that fire, and they needed somebody to speak to. And Chrissy was right there to give them her card, to set up a psychologist coming in and give them a little bit of help. And I think it helped immensely with her responding to the scene, speaking to the management there, and then having some action afterwards by supplying them with somebody to talk to. So that's very, very important, I believe. Thank you.
All right, well, any more comments or questions?
Mr. President, if I may,
Yes,
I forgot to mention that updated charter resolution draft will be going around to the council. There were a few words changed within it, so I didn't get a chance to get it to the clerk, but you will have it this evening or first thing in the morning. Just forgot to mention that earlier.
Thank you, man. Yeah. All right, well, if the council agrees, introduction and first public hearing on this item will be at the mayor and city council meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And the last item on the agenda is that alley update briefing. Mayor Mo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to try to give a quick recap of what's been happening the last year or more. But at the end, I'll ask Councilman DeWalt or Cole if they have anything to add, because they've been attending a lot of the meetings, as well as Director Lee. But as you all know, we've been working on what they call alley number 8. It's actually called Alley Street, and it's between 7th and 6th Street. And it's behind the alley that goes behind Montgomery Street and behind Prince George Street, in between those. It has had numerous rocks or grading or other things done throughout the year, whether it be the city or other private residents. After the alleys were, if you remember, Bill Goddard went through all the different alleys to find out what he could find out. And there had been discrepancies where that alley was ours, it wasn't ours. We've come to the conclusion after everything that it is the city's alley. We have used trucks on that over the years. And that is part of our problem with some of the alleys. They just weren't built for these trucks, these heavy trucks now. If you recall, the council put in Resolution 921, which was an executive policy, which was 2102. That was the alley policy that we approved, and it gave us the opportunity to, for those that came to us to talk about alleys, it gave us a procedure to use, whether it's ours or whether it's theirs. It also stipulates in there that if we come in, there's roughly, I think it was 8 alleys that we identified that we continue to use. But as those alleys would be fixed, they would trash would be moved to the front of the home, and that Public Works would work with them and making sure that occurred. As I said, we had several community meetings. Most of the time, it was anywhere from 3 to 15 members. When we first started out, we had a pretty good group. The last several ones has probably been 3 to 5 members of the community, as well as Councilman DeWalt, Councilman Cole, as well as some staff. We worked with the community and discussed, went over the alley policy that was adopted by the city council, went over the ownership of alleys, and in this case, it was the 12-foot alley, which is alley number 8. We talked a little bit about the history of the alley. We talked about moving trash And again, that was probably the biggest concern and sticking point, I would think, with some. And again, I want to commend Director Lee and his staff for working with them to put them at ease. We're going to work with them as we move forward with this. Drawings were done by KCI, but before the drawings were done, KCI actually went out and instead of doing just Alley 8, they did several other alleys that are owned by the city, did soil testing bores, and did compression rates. As much as we wanted to make this small alley, alley number 8, we wanted to make it pervious. It was very difficult because of the soil and the problems that it would occur. This is going to be concrete. It will be stamped. It will also have color added to it as well. And there was some discussion on different alleys, but I'll speak for myself. I just felt if we were going to do this, we should do it right. We should make sure it fits into the community. Most of these alleys, or several of them, are in the historical district. So we came up with a design. Part of the design down on Alley 8 will have 2 speed humps as well. There'll be added some signage to try to keep heavy trucks off of it. Although we will keep heavy trucks off of it, it is designed to handle, I forget the weight of some of the trucks, a fire truck, if need be. But as I said to one of the residents there, it's not a lot of times you see the fire departments using alleys anymore when they're running for calls. And then, as I said, signage will be added. I always knew that part of the problem when we got to the temporary easements would be an issue. And I, again, apologize to those members of the community that were there. There were some issues on the easements. We had sent out perpetual easements. It was never to be that. It was a temporary easement in case we had to step on somebody's property. When the alley work gets started, we will not be moving any dirt or moving any gravel, whatever it may be, onto people's property. The reason we need the easements is that if a worker has to step aside, there are some people that don't want anybody on their property. So we had to get those squared away. We don't have all of them yet. It's roughly 15 properties that are involved. Out of the 15, 9 of them have been fully executed. Again, let me acknowledge and thank Councilman DeWalt and Director Lee for the work. They went out and met with the community and tried to get more of these easements. We have talked to our legal counsel regarding if we don't get all of them, and we'll keep the council abreast of all that. We abreasted on that. We think, and as I stated at the last meeting on February the 21st, we're going to move forward with this. I think council, after, as I stated to them, I would be briefing you all tonight. I think most of you all are well aware of what's been going on for the last couple of years with this one alley in particular. We did have it on a meeting on the 21st. Again, a small crowd, but there was one member that really had not been got his notifications to all the meeting, although we did certified mail. I guess it was concern was that he didn't get notified of the working meetings. I guess we would say community meetings. So we are trying to work with that individual and their property there. We'll see how far we can get. The city council did move and approved funding for the CIP several months back. You added $200,000 in the CIP for this alley. We believe and we hope, depending on costs, we hope that it'll be around $130,000 to $160,000. The bids are out. They will be coming back, and hopefully this month. I'm hopeful we can. Council has no concerns and wants to continue moving forward. I'm hopeful that we can get the bids and maybe have a special meeting, Mr. President, and look at the bids and allow us to continue to move forward with this. The KCI did say that they felt a 3-month period, especially right now, because we don't know what the weather would be like. But we believe that once it started, it could be up to 3 months. I am hopeful that it will be less. But with the Maryland weather, we never know what we're going to get. We want to be upfront with everybody on that. With that said, Mr. President, if Councilman DeWalt or Cole has anything, and then if you go to Director Lee, just if he has anything, that would be my quick overview, and then I'll answer any questions after we're done. Thank you.
Any comments on Councilman DeWalt?
Just real quick, over the weekend, I spoke to Ernest. He runs McDivitt Plumbing. He's at 612 PG Street, and I'm going to meet with him possibly the end of this week or the beginning of next week, and we can get his done for the easement. And he's going to introduce me to the guy next to him who has those 2 dogs in the front yard all the time that I'm definitely afraid of. So he's going to introduce me to him. So we might get 2 more taken off the list.
Thank you for that update on Councilman DeWalt. Councilman Cole, anything to add?
I just want to say that the mayor was correct. I really wanted to see a permeable pavement put in for this alley. There's just no way to cost effectively do it on this one. There are ways that we can do it on other alleys, but for this one, there really is only the concrete. So for those that are concerned about the environment, this is really the only option if we're going to pave this alley.
Yeah. And thank you for that, Councilman Cole. Director Lee, do you have anything to add?
No, I think everybody covered it all. We are scheduled, we have a tentative hold on a date to meet with the individual at 607 Montgomery. So as soon as we confirm that, I'll get back to the mayor and the councilman on that.
Brian, could you just let everybody know, for those that may be watching at home, how the water will run off?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So in our alley design right now, the problem is, as we're all aware, that the water pools and it potholes in several locations in that alley. Our design will effectively trough the water towards the middle of the alley with a slight incline, and it is designed to run all of that water off down to 6th Street, down to the stormwater drain, where it's designed to take that water, which is the stormwater at 6th and Main, and it will add no additional problems to that particular drain, which is designed to handle that. So at the end of this, we believe that this would be a great advantage to the community and to the property surrounding the alley.
Thank you. That concludes our report, Mr. President, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions or comments from the council to add?
Just one thing, President. Just so everybody knows, Oliver's, after being closed, it feels like 3 months, they opened today. So they're back in business, and I think they're having their grand opening today.
I was in there earlier this evening and it looks great.
Thank you for that, guys. I'll be sure to try to stop by. I want to thank the mayor and Councilman DeWalt and Councilman Cole and Director Lee for their leadership on this. I don't go on that side of town as often, and Dylan, of course, I lean on my colleagues on that side when they're over there helping dispute these issues. So thank you again for that and keeping us updated on what's going on. There being no further business to come before the mayor and city council, this meeting is adjourned.